Right, okay. Without further ado, I hope you all got an understanding of what the University of Cambridge looks like, the facilities, the look and feel of the place, and that will give us a lovely basis for us to talk a little bit more about the University of Cambridge and the City of Cambridge. Right, a few things about us, our background and our history. So the university was founded in 1209, so it's one of the oldest universities in the world. We are comprised by 31 autonomous colleges and over 150 academic departments and faculties. The University of Cambridge is home to over 23,000 students from more than 140 countries. So we have students at undergraduate, postgraduate, and postgraduate research level joining the university every year. So all continents are really, really well represented. What is really important for us is to nurture a truly international environment for all our students to study and develop in. We have 30 undergraduate courses covering more than 65 different subject areas, and we have about 500 postgraduate courses spanning from life sciences, STEM subjects, humanities, social sciences, business, and management. A lesser known fact about the University of Cambridge is that we have 121 Nobel laureates and 194 Olympic medals. Something that is not particularly known about the University of Cambridge is that we are also a very, very sporty university. So we are very well represented at the Olympic Games every 4 years. Moving on to the next slide. Being a collegiate university brings up quite a lot of questions when students are researching us on the internet. I think sometimes it can be a little bit confusing. What is it? What's the university? So a college think of it as a mini campus, providing a base for all our students. This is where all your accommodation is going to be based, plus all the facilities, the catering facilities, recreation, and study. So the dining halls are based at college premises. The colleges admit undergraduate students, but the departments provide the admissions facilities for postgraduate students. So that's a little bit different. Now, what does the university do? So think of the University of Cambridge as the umbrella organization underneath which the colleges operate. So the university decides on the content of the programs, organizes the lectures, the seminars, the practical sessions, and the lab work. The university sets and marks examinations and also awards degrees. So when you graduate from the University of Cambridge, your certificate is going to be from the University of Cambridge with a mention of which college you attended. So a lovely way of how a student, an ex-student of ours, described the college life to me. He said, how much time you spend in your college is completely up to you. For some students, the college is simply the place where they sleep and usually attend supervisions. But for most, it provides experiences and friendships that can last a lifetime. So it's completely up to you how you want to see your college accommodation environment. So a few words about those of you who might be thinking about applying to perhaps UK universities or USA or Canadian universities. The higher education systems are slightly different. So when you're doing your research and if you proceed to apply to many different countries, consider the below, but the general terminology might be a little bit different. So in the USA, as an example, when you talk about a school, that is the university. So you might be asked, which school are you applying to? And that means the university in the UK. Schools in the UK, as an example, is where your academic department is based. So that's a little bit different. That was just a small example. The application process might be a little bit different, and the selection process might be a little bit different. Generally, in the UK, you apply quite early for undergraduate as well as postgraduate degrees. And especially at the University of Cambridge, every student is interviewed before an offer is given to them. In terms of other differences between the UK and the North American system is the course structure and length. So in the UK, we structure our courses a little bit different. In the UK, we specialize quite early on. So if you elect to study law or medicine or business, this is exactly what you're going to be studying towards from day one. Whereas in the USA, you might spend the first couple of years taking quite a wide range of modules. In the UK, you can tailor your program, but it will have to be within the same faculty, the same discipline. So in the UK also, the programs tend to be slightly shorter. So an average undergraduate degree would be anything between 3 to 5 years, whereas a postgraduate degree, a master's degree, would ordinarily, at least the taught element, would ordinarily not last longer than 12 months. PhDs are 3 to 4 years in length. In the USA, degrees tend to be a little bit longer. That's the way the programs are set up. So when you think about the UK higher education system, think about depth. So when you graduate from us, you'll have a great deal of depth in your subject. So you can gain a specialization quite early on. Whereas at other systems, perhaps there is more breadth. So you will have different experiences, perhaps from different courses and faculties, but not necessarily depth. The scholarship types are different in the UK and the USA. In the UK, scholarships are normally decided based solely on academic achievement, academic prowess, whereas in the USA, you will come across quite a few sport-related scholarships. In the UK, there is a small number of sport-relating scholarships, but the majority of scholarships are based on academic achievement. There is, however, lots of common ground across the Atlantic. So both systems are Anglophone systems, quite a few international students from a wide range of countries do go to the UK and the USA and Canada for their postgraduate studies. And generally, across the board, there is global recognition of degrees. Okay. Talking more specifically about the University of Cambridge, and that's questions we receive quite a lot. What is it like studying at a highly selective, highly ranked university? Is it super competitive? Is it stressful? What should I expect? So obviously, we select the best students across the board. So expect that your study is going to be quite robust. The course is going to be quite fast-paced and demanding. However, there are formal support structures for you to reach out if you need academic support or if you need welfare support. That's standard in the UK, and it is going to be provided to you as part of the program. So don't be too worried about not being able to cope on the course. There is going to be quite a lot of support throughout your study with us. At Cambridge, we've got a director of studies that will look after your academic progress throughout your academic degree. But also there is going to be a pastoral tutor that is going to be assigned to you when you first arrive at the University of Cambridge, who is going to look after you in terms of welfare. So the Director of Studies will be looking after you academically, and the pastoral tutor will be looking after you in everything that has to do with welfare concerns. There is also in-house surgery and nurse access 24/7. In terms of other networks for support, because obviously coming to the UK, going overseas for international studies can be very, very daunting, especially for those students who haven't had an international education. There is the College Students' Union that you can reach out. So the Students' Union, think of it as a union that is run by students for students. So this is where all the clubs and societies run out from, any interest groups, and other facilities to hang out and make friends. Also, there is always a rep for international students. So if you would like to see something changing in your halls of residence, your college, or the course, or something that you think that we can do better, there is always going to be international student representation that you can reach out to and have a discussion. There are also informal networks, and when you first arrive at the University of Cambridge and in the UK, we will be running a Freshers Week, as it's called. So that's going to be an opportunity for you to meet other international and home students and create your own network of support. You will, of course, have flatmates at your college, so that's another way that you can make networks and connections and friendships. In terms of other support that we provide at the University of Cambridge, there is also scholarships and funding for international students. We do have quite a lot of funds tucked away for our international students. You will have to apply for these scholarships. Some scholarships you will not need to apply for. It depends which category you fall in. So there is quite a lot of funding support, especially before Cambridge, and we do encourage you to apply early enough to us for your academic study, but also for the scholarship opportunities. So in terms of other support, quite a few of our students would like to perhaps try their hand on a part-time job, and we do offer that support. You can, as an international student, work for a small number of hours every week, but also as an international student, you will need to start thinking about what happens after graduation. All UK universities, including the University of Cambridge, do offer a careers service. That is an office specifically for students to be able to approach members of staff there and to seek help in terms of interview skills, in terms of job search, in terms of having a quick look at their CV and giving them advice. The career service also runs careers fairs. Think of it as a big fair, an exhibition whereby we invite quite a few employers for our students to meet with them, explore careers post-graduation with them. So that's a nice platform for you to see what big companies have to offer our international students. Okay. Other questions that we receive. Oh, sorry, let me go back. Apologies for that. So in terms of student life, and this is going to be a big part of coming to the UK for your studies. Yes, the academic part is extremely important, and we do want you to do really well on the course. But the international student experience is something that you will remember for years and years after your graduation. So the questions that international students normally ask us is, is studying overseas expensive, especially if you come to a university like Cambridge? Is it all work and no play? What does it feel? What does it look like studying at the university? So as I briefly mentioned before, there are lots of university and college-specific clubs and societies. So the clubs and societies revolve around different themes. So as an example, it could be a nationality specific group. So there's the Brazilian Society, the Peruvian Society. There could be specialist interest societies, as an example, the Theatre Society or Ballroom Dance Society. There are also the sporting societies as well. So you can pursue sport at the University of Cambridge either competitively or just for fun. It's completely up to you. In terms of other things, what you can do at Cambridge, there are lots of pubs and restaurants, theatres and festivals. As an example, if you're into music festivals, there's quite a lot of that going on, especially in the summer months. And summer for us is May to September. So there's quite a lot of things that you can do as an international student at Cambridge. Generally, Cambridge is quite a safe and relaxed city, about 50 minutes away from London, so you can pop into London during the weekend. So that's quite handy, especially if you're thinking about perhaps pursuing a career in London post-graduation. It gives you a lovely segue in and out of the capital. The way that Cambridge has been described to me is a small, it has got a small town feel, but with a big city energy. And that's really, really true. We're not as big as London, but there's an awful lot to do and see in and around Cambridge. In terms of cost, Cambridge is a university city, so I would say that the cost of living in Cambridge is probably lower than it is in London, which is the capital, and it is much more expensive. I would say average to high, so it's not the cheapest city to live in the UK, but it's not the most expensive either. So if you are operating on a very tight budget, then selection of university and city must be considered. Different cities in the UK have slightly different costs, so you need to be aware of that. Now, if you would like to look around the different departments and university buildings in the city, here at the bottom, there is the virtual tour website. So you can click on there into a virtual tour, so you can navigate yourself around the streets and the buildings at the University of Cambridge, just to get a feel for the place. One of the things that we really promote is for you to chat to our uni buddies. So if you find yourself looking around our university website, then please click on the Uni Buddy button. The Uni Buddies are student ambassadors who can meet you online. It's a sort of messenger, Facebook Messenger type of service. So you can click on student profiles and then chat with the students about anything about their course, their experience studying in the UK, and top tips that they might have for you. Generally, our students find it really to speak. Currently, University of Cambridge. You might come across Latin American students, but you're free to chat to any student from any nationality and from any department, if that's of interest to you. Okay, right. Thank you very much for your time. This is a really quick synopsis of the University of Cambridge. Let me try to play the video that I tried to play before, and hopefully there is going to be sound. If there isn't, it's only a short one, so that will be a nice way to conclude the presentation. I'm trying to scroll back. Excellent. Okay, right. I'll go on mute, and hopefully you'll be able. That's okay. I'm sorry. I'm not really sure why this is happening today, but at least the students will have found the video content. It's only music. There is an explanation in the background. It's only music to accompany the video. So the important thing for me is for the students potential students to look at what the University of Cambridge looks like. Okay, and that concludes my presentation, and I'm more than happy to take questions.
Muchas gracias, Vania, por la información. Ahora vamos a pasar con un par de preguntas para culminar la presentación. ¿Cuántos estudiantes peruanos cursan actualmente en la Universidad de Cambridge? Y si un postulante aún no culmina el bachiller, un postulante culmina el bachiller en el 2023, ¿puede ir postulando ya o tiene que culminar el bachiller?
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. Both really good questions. So I'll tackle the first one to start with. Obviously, like with any other university anywhere in the world, numbers of students, depending on nationality, change year on year when new students especially arrive at postgraduate level. So it depends. Normally, at the University of Cambridge, we have about anything between 20 to 40 Peruvian students. The reason for slightly lower numbers from Peruvian students is that In the past, we hadn't been visiting Peru to meet aspiring applicants. So we didn't have the reach in Peru, and we were not doing an awful lot of digital advertising. So an awful lot of students were quite shy and were not applying to Cambridge, probably because they did not quite understand the admissions process, and they hadn't met a representative like me to explain how it all works at the University of Cambridge. So quite a few students were quite fearful of putting an application in because they were not understanding the admissions process, which admittedly, it takes some getting used to. So after the pandemic, we started becoming more proactive in Peru, and I was actually visiting Lima only 3 weeks ago. I was in Peru 3 weeks ago, and I met hundreds of Peruvian students who will be applying to the University of Cambridge in the next 3 years. So we do expect that the numbers of Peruvian students will increase at the University of Cambridge in the not too distant future. But the quick answer is that we were not as proactive to recruit students from Peru. So maybe our numbers look a little bit lower, even though they're not completely low. There's still a wide representation of Peruvian students right this minute at the University of Cambridge. Important to highlight that we do welcome every year a wide range of Latin American students from not just Peruvian students, but students from Chile, Ecuador, Brazil, Argentina, and then we have good numbers of students from Central America as well, with Mexico being the largest population of Central American students. So if you want to get involved in the Latin American Society, as an example, or meet other students from Latin America, be quite a few groups at undergraduate and postgraduate level at the University of Cambridge. So you will not be on your own if you come to us. So in terms of the second question about the application process, and that is something that we're being asked all the time because I know that it can be quite confusing. So in the UK, you don't wait to finish an undergraduate program and then apply for a postgraduate degree. If you do that, you're going to be too late. Normally, students start their application in the final year of their undergraduate degree. So if you're in year 3 or 4 or 5, depending on your program length, you need to apply to us on your final year of study. So normally you need to start your application in October. So if you want to join a UK university next year, so in September 2023, you really need to start thinking about applying now. Selective universities like Cambridge, we receive the bulk of our applications for the next year around November, December, and January time. For the really competitive programs, we expect our students to have applied by Christmas. Don't worry if you don't have your final certificate. We don't expect you to have the final certificate because we know that you haven't finished your program yet. What we will expect as part of the application process is for you to submit any mark sheets, transcripts from the first few years, 1, 2, 3, perhaps, and then we make an offer, a conditional offer, based on how you've done in your academic career thus far. And of course, your offer will be firmed up once we receive your final score. Hopefully, you will meet the entry criteria, and then if you have, then we've already received your seat, so we will confirm your place with us. So please don't worry about that. So don't wait until you graduate to put an application in. You have to do it 9 months before the program starts. Other things that you need to submit in terms of your application is 1 or 2 references, normally academic references, mark sheets or transcripts, and you will need to work on a personal statement. So that's a short essay talking to us about your motivations for applying to us and for applying for the program of your choice. Normally a couple of pages long. So this is what you need to do to put an application in. And then any outstanding documentation, you can send it to us later on. Okay?